organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, a fatal fall raises questions. We'll be joined by Daily Iowan investigative reporter to dig deeper into the death of a UI student last fall.
And find out what landed the UI's Health and Vascular Center on top of the charts in healthcare.
And in sports, campus has been swarming with swimmers these past few days. A full update of the Big Ten Swimming and Diving Championships happening right now in Iowa City is coming up.
All that and more is coming your way next. Daily Iowan TV starts right now.
From Studio 151, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan, this is Daily Iowan TV.
Thanks for tuning into your Thursday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Lauren Moss. Last September, tragedy struck the UI community and the friends and family of Tom Plotkin, the 6'3" lacrosse and hockey player who studied international business at the University of Iowa, studied in India last fall, and died after slipping off a mountain trail. But now, months after his death, the Daily Iowan is asking questions regarding the accident and how the fall was handled. With more on this, we'll send it to Jake Abrams.
Yeah, all right, thanks, Lauren. I'm joined here on set by Rashab Jain, who is an investigative reporter for the Daily Iowan, and he broke a story in today's pages regarding the death of Tom Plotkin. Rashab, you got the opportunity to spend some time in India studying the causes and the reaction of Thomas Plotkin's death. But for our viewers out there who never really had the opportunity to meet Tom, can you describe, you talked to his mother, you talked to his friends, describe the kind of guy he was.
Well, to begin with, I didn't really know Tom as a person here at the university. I knew we had some common friends, but I didn't really know him. Through the story and through the investigation, I came across many of his friends, and I had some extensive conversations with his mother. Tom just comes across to me as a very affectionate person who's built very strong on the outside. Right. At 6'3", he was a hockey player. He played lacrosse for the university. So he had it going for him. And another very important thing that his mother told me was what priority he gave to his studies.
So he's in India on a program through NOLS, which is essentially a wilderness education program. And through NOLS, they didn't necessarily, they could have, I guess, in your article, you explain how they didn't go to the local authorities or the local search teams once he fell off that mountain. They stuck to their own method, which was to use their own resources. Mm-hmm. But what kind of training did NOLS provide for Thomas Plotkin and the other students that were on these less than ideal conditions?
Well, I'm glad that you bring this up because that was one of my main questions to the NOLS authorities, that, what kind of training do these students go through? They actually don't go through any training at all.
None at all.
Their students, their course begins as they get there. They don't go through any training. However, they say that they're given enough input on being fit. And that's one of the primary things that NOLS is really looking into. Fit students who can carry heavy backpacks and walk up the trails. And that's about it.
So could they go on these trails at any time, or did they need supervision to guide them on the trails?
Well, they had, NOLS works slightly differently from how we would think they work. They have instructors with these students guiding them, but they only guide them at the beginning of their course. Students are supposed to become group leaders on their own and take on decision making and navigational direction.
Right. Okay. Now, you spent a full week in India. What were some of those challenges reporting in India? And how did the locals react to this incident? Is this something that happens all the time in India, or was this something that kind of caused a concern for the locals in the area as well?
Well, for addressing your first question first, it was challenging, the fact that I had to spend a week in the mountains during the winters. It's really cold up there, and they don't really have central heating or anything, so it is really cold.
Tough trip.
And But I would say I had the advantage of the language. So I could speak Hindi very fluently as I was born and raised in India. And that really helped me in my investigation, because I could speak to the people, they spoke the language. I didn't need a translator. I went around and just basically got all the information I needed on my own. Locals were very sad that something like that had happened so close to their homes, primarily because Munshari is a major tourist attraction, and a lot of foreigners go to Munshari to basically backpack around the mountains and also bring in a lot of revenue for a lot of these locals. Something like this tarnishes the reputation of the region, and they were not happy about that.
Well, it was a great article, and unfortunately for the both of us, we didn't get to know Tom personally, but as I read in your article, his mother described him as a kid who was always smiling. He always gave her a hug on the way out, and from talking to some people around campus, I know he is truly missed. But if you didn't get the opportunity to read Rishabh's article, go ahead and pick up a copy of the Daily Iowan. It is on our news shelves until next week, and you can go right now to dailyiowan.com to read the story yourself immediately. Rishabh, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Great story.
Yep.
Lauren?
It looks like the UI's Health and Vascular Center will have a new title to embrace, and that is #1. Here's why.
After ranking first among University Health Systems Consortium members in its heart transplant and heart assist implant program, this success is nothing short of incredible hard work and discipline.
We have awesome surgeons that can make great decisions in the complex arena of the operating room and then get them safely to the critical care unit, where our critical care doctors help us in those first critical hours.
Although 4 other hospitals also had 100% results, the 37 cases did not only secure them the top spot, but hopefully patients as well.
We anticipate that as our success grows, we may even double that volume in the next couple years.
And heart pumping and transplant is no easy task, so the higher rank status will have major significance.
These kinds of clinical successes are the things that bring in people and companies that make new devices. They want to work with the very best centers that are getting great outcomes.
So what does this great outcome mean for the staff?
This is a great morale builder, of course. It just makes us want to be even better.
This is Muriel Kone, Daily Iowan TV. And looking ahead, the Health and Vascular Center here at the university plans to continue their track of innovative practices.
All right, thanks, Muriel. Still much more to come on Daily Iowan TV.
China's Vice President Xi Jinping visited eastern Iowa yesterday, but find out why some people aren't too pleased with his visit.
And in sports, a rundown look at the jam-packed Hawkeye Sports Weekend.
But first, let's check in with Daily Iowan TV's Taysha Woods for a look at our weekend weather.
Thanks, Jake. We'll start off this weekend right with temperatures Friday morning at 40 with partly sunny skies, 46 in the afternoon, and clear skies in the evening, only dipping down slightly to 35 degrees. To see what else is in store, our extended forecast shows 40-degree range temps all weekend. With mostly sunny skies and early next week, we'll see a slight chance of rain, but we'll keep those 40 range temps and even almost see 50 degrees next Wednesday. Things are starting to gear up for spring break, so hopefully everyone can power through midterms and enjoy the weather. Back to you.
It's no accident that Iowa was one of the stops on Chinese Vice President Xi Jinping's U.S. trip this week. The Vice President visited the town of Muscatine Wednesday night, where he expressed interest in increasing agricultural trade between Iowa and China. Iowa currently exports farm machinery, soybeans, and corn to China, but officials hope the trade will increase after Xi's trip. However, not everyone was pleased with the Vice President's visit. Tibetans protested at the event last night in response to the Chinese government sealing off Tibet to foreigners and journalists after Tibetans demanded freedom. Take a listen. Despite the protests, many Iowans were happy with the leader's visit, and he is expected to become China's next president in 2013.
And airport body scanners have been a bit controversial these days, with passengers complaining that x-rays show a little too much. But an airport in Arkansas just unveiled a new machine yesterday that protects your privacy. No private or graphic images are shown when people are scanned, just a generic outline of the passenger. Airport representatives say that these scanners are less invasive than those in other cities.
And now let's send it over to Daily Iowan's Chelsea Byrne to see what's going on in Hawkeye sports.
Thanks, guys. Well, the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center has been packed full since Wednesday afternoon. And no, it's not because spring break is right around the corner. The University of Iowa is host to the 2012 Swimming and Diving Championships as we speak over at the CRWC. The first 3 events kicked off with the 200 medley relay. Iowa's Danielle Carty leading off with the backstroke. Iowa finished 8th in the event. Next up was the 800 freestyle relay, where Iowa's very own Becky Stoughton set a new pool record in the event. However, Iowa finished 9th in that event. After the diving team gave an exhibition show, swimming coach Mark Long gave us his thoughts on the evening's results and the weekend to come.
Feel good. You know, it's, again, I think with such a young group, a little bit antsy tonight. I think it's good to get this under our belt and then start really plugging away tomorrow at these individual events to get night swims.
At the end of Wednesday, Iowa was 8th overall, but with the competition going all weekend, Iowa has plenty of time to work their way to the top. And the Women's Swimming and Diving Championships will be taking place through Saturday over at the pool. But here's a quick look at some of the other black and gold teams competing this weekend. And wow, is there a lot. The crossover from the end of winter sports to the beginning of spring sports is officially underway. But let's start out with those contests that are still inside, coming towards the end of their season. Men's basketball plays 2 games this weekend to kick off the last 6 of their regular season. One at Penn State and the other at home versus Indiana. The women also play on the road Thursday night against Michigan. And on the mat, the national duels taking place in Stillwater, Oklahoma on Sunday, featuring Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, and Oklahoma State. Women's gymnastics will also be in action at home versus Iowa State on Friday night. But let's take it south now. The baseball team kicks off their season in St. Petersburg, Florida with the Big Ten ACC Challenge. They will play 3 games in 3 days. The softball team will also travel to the Heat for the Littlewood Classic in Arizona, where they will play 5 games in 3 days. The Iowa Invitational for track and field will take place here in Iowa City on Friday night. And of course, the Big Ten Swimming and Diving Championships will finish off the women's side of things through Sunday night. Men's and women's tennis and women's golf are also in action this weekend. Nothing like getting a full dose of Hawkeye sports in the middle of February. Now get out there and check out some of those contests, Jake and Lauren.
All right, thanks, Chelsea. Well, there's not such great news for all you chocolate lovers out there. That's because king-size Snicker bars may not be so king-size anymore. Believe it or not, the Mars company is looking to downsize its products that include Three Musketeers, Dove, and Milky Way. The well-known king-size chocolate bars contain almost 540 calories in one package, enough for the company to put the candy bars on a diet. The downsize of the candy is in an effort to promote responsible snacking.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Friday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Find out what the Iowa City School District is doing about not meeting national nursing standards.
Plus the numbers on safe sex, how many students use condoms, the study out tomorrow.
That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out at the same time on Sunday or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.